game. Hopefully both teams can right the ship here. And like you said, a 3-1 for Team 8 could be going on strong here in the spring split. Let's see what they have for picks and bans as we get in. Impact on your screen there. Hoping to make more of that coming in to today.
You're absolutely right about that. And something interesting about Team 8 is now that TSM has finished the week so dominant, we got to remember Team 8's handed Team Solomon their only loss of the year.
Yeah.
Yes, Team 8 is new to the LCS, but they qualified during the promotion tournament, not the expansion tournament. So they really were that 8th team in the LCS. And they look strong doing it. I mean, even all the way through the challenger scene, Team 8 was always just that one step short. They'd lose right at the end.
Right.
But other than that, they were really dominating people.
They've really patched up a few of those holes. And like you were saying, the game was a strong win. It was Slushy coming out with big plays and the rest of the team really helping. As we see the picks and bans go away, Cali Trolls will not get that Jax or Aurelia, so they also notice that that's a power factor for Team 8 coming into the Champion Select.
It's smart. I mean, Team Impulse brags about the size of Impact's champion pool, and there are multiple top lane bans here. Even Kassadin can be considered a top lane ban because it gets played there about half the time when it actually does get picked through. It will test those top laners for sure, even though Gnar is up. With all the top lane bans, Gnar's still there.
And
that
Jarvan.
just goes to show how much teams have been banning recently. But this is definitely more of a target ban strategy from Impulse. And while somewhat targeted from Team 8, it's like a power ban strategy from them.
No, it's been floating around for Impulse for the fact that they kind of play solo QS, that they almost take that and run with it. If they can all do their own thing.
Yep, absolutely. That's the strategy I would do if I was the coach of Team Impulse right now. Knowing that their team play is not necessarily all the way there.
Yeah.
Impact just coming into the United States on Tuesday. Knowing that Rush has such an amazing ability to play solo queue games individually. And you would just try and get the enemy off your comfort. And when you're a more individualistic team, a lot of it is just about abusing the power picks.
Right.
That's why they didn't necessarily ban out the power picks.
Yeah. We'll see what happens in the jungle. You can see Rush there with the coach behind him as they talk about a Jarvan and a Janna picked up. Jays for Team 8 here. They do not go for the Narvin pickup, but they do still get 2 priority picks there. And we already see that Xiao wants to be on the Blanc this game, so the team now figuring out what can synergize with that.
The full team here.
Quite a bit will, but what will they lock in?
Yeah, not the Kazakhs.
Letting that clock tick down. Hopefully to thwart Team 8 on any of their quick picks, and then they'll have to recognize and adapt to Team Impulses. There it is. It's going to be the Gnar and the Lee Sin locked in, so a bit more that can jump around here with Xiao.
Here's the interesting thing. Since we mentioned that Cali Trolls is the top lane carry, we think of the only game Team 8 lost. It was when Cali Trolls was playing Iceborne Gauntlet Scion. The games they won, he was on Aurelia and Jax, and while we would normally see teams save their mid lane pick for a counter pick, Team 8 is actually saving the top lane pick for the counter pick.
Yeah. Especially getting banned out so much, they don't want to put him up against anything blindly. He already sees what his lane opponent will be, but giving him the full entire team to counter is what Team 8 wants. And he actually up for this game, and that may be locked in on the side of Team Impulse. We have seen that Cali Trolls fares well in the 2v1 as well, so whatever they're trying to do to him, it is going to be a tough task. He usually comes out pretty strong. We have seen Blitzcrank from Afromoo. Really something that can make plays. When you're all out of options, you can get a good Blitzcrank pull and lock him down.
Woo, Kog'Maw of all things. Definitely looking to sneak in some late game damage there. I was hoping for the Annie earlier, but with the Kog'Maw, it's just not a smart choice. They need to peel. There's a few supports that have gone on record saying that Nami is very strong in the Janna matchup, but I haven't necessarily seen it come to fruition often in game. Nami, of course, has a sustain edge and can throw in a nice cute bubble if Janna tries to heal and tank.
All right, what do they round it out with here? A few champions that Team 8 took up against Coast. We remember Maple Street on that Graves buckshotting the Baron fight that cost Coast the game to get them back in it. A top lane for Cali Trolls. Hey, it's a deep champion pool. Anything he pretty much hovers could be his lock-in in this situation.
He's always one to innovate. Against the Kog'Maw and the Gnar, he's got to be prepared for a lane swap scenario. And they could also just go for the Wombo. I've seen he had a very impressive Malphite game in the promotion tournament itself. Again, building Iceborne Gauntlet. And they're going to be trying the Orianna Malphite power play.
So this kind of equals both teams going in. What are we going to see from these guys is what the result they want from their team?
Hopefully a few more fights than we've been seeing lately.
Slow day.
Even though Teammate has Janna for the peeling, in this context, it's more a little bit of added shield, but damage on Graves' combo. I think that's what we're going to be seeing out of the bottom lane combination of Teammate. The rest of the team is very dive-oriented, and Team Impact is a little bit more, Team Impulse is a little bit more pick-oriented, just because they do have the LeBlanc Lee Sin combo. They're going to try and get some early game pressure. I would not be surprised if Rush puts a lot of pressure on the mid lane and they try and withstand Cali Trolls' Malphite, since Malphite's not typically the champion that looks to carry and take over a game like a Jax would.
Yeah.
So I think that's what both teams are going for.
Pretty much staying away from Cali Trolls is the smart thing to do. Turning around a situation is something he's very good at. So, leaving him to the wayside, we are going to get the teams entered up and onto the Rift as the coaches shake hands. Been something that's really helped these teams out and taken off a little bit of pressure as well as you go into the game. You know what you have to do, and we've seen a lot of teams starting with the level 2s. We saw CLG do something different as well, and there's even more on the board that can happen. Champs are locked in and loading, so head to Twitter and vote for who you think will chalk up another victory here. Tweet hashtag TIPWin or hashtag T8Win. to @LOL Esports, and we'll update the poll as we go throughout the game. As we go through this game, both mid laners, I'm excited about that matchup. It's almost like a featured for me here. Lushi versus Xiaowei Xiao, both that can really put the team on their back and carry, and we're looking for that for the rest of the team as well. We know the solo lanes of Team 8 can actually put that team on their back and carry. Can Impact do it now? He's been saying he can. Yeah,
well, he had such a bad start to his game against CLG. Impact died within the first 2 to 3 minutes of that game. If he can avoid that, and now that he's on Gnar, a stronger individual laning champion, hopefully we get to see a little bit of what made Impact so well known.
Yeah, put onto that Lulu last time, didn't offer too much, but already, like we said, having something on the docket as soon as you get into game, Rush with a little BM there as they hit Porpoise pops up. No summoner spells, but good warding is going to come out of this for both teams.
Well, this guarantees our assumptions that it is a lane swap guessing game now. Both teams have been able to get some somewhat deep ward coverage. You can see Team 8 placing it in a slightly shallower location, whereas Impulse went all the way into that red side jungle. Yeah, they're picking out the ward too. If there was some way Maple Street could dodge that ward, he would. It's all about guessing now where Impulse will be going. And because of the shallowness of that ward, they're going to be a little bit late to seeing it, but it does look like they're going to be able to find the lane. Will that see him? As long as they hug the wall. Oh, Apollo.
Nope.
Well,
never mind.
Looks like they might be starting Krugs anyway, which would imply that they're almost admitting that they're going to get 2v2'd anyway, which is strange. I suppose. Here we go. Impulse's wards in the red side jungle, since they didn't show anyone, there was no way for Team 8 to walk around those. Oh no, Cali Trolls trying to be a nuisance. One more hit on that, and he's... All right, he's just harassing.
Hurts Rush a little bit, but really great play. Team Impulse gets themselves in, but that play from Dodo there helps the lane out just a little bit and makes that fact that they couldn't lane swap stronger now for Maple Street and Dodo. What are you... Impact!
Cali Trolls is very aggressive early game. He knows how low he got rushed, too, so he can play with impunity. Impact does trade back pretty well, though. He just doesn't have as many potions as Cali Trolls does.
Yeah, Cali Trolls going for biscuits, and he's also got the mana potions as well. Be able to get himself in and out of these fights. Really give Impact some trouble.
We do need to talk about the bottom lane here, though, only because Maple Street and Dodo, it's on them now to win this lane. They won the lane swap guessing game, and in the TSM match we just saw, when TSM lost the lane swap, they immediately bailed. They went all the way back to base,
right,
straight to the top lane, said, we're not going to win this lane. This matchup is a little bit closer because the Nami can sustain, but I'm still of the opinion that Graves Janna is very strong early.
And hopefully they can show it. Teammates bottom lane is kind of where the weakness comes in for this team. We talked about the solo lanes being strong, so it would be good for Maple Street and Dodo to be able to show here with the stronger side of the composition. That sustain you were speaking of, keeping Adrian and Apollo quite healthy here as they're trading equally in CS. But the bubble can't be acted on. That disengage helping too much. Don't know where we're going to see that first jungle pressure. Expecting it to be in the mid lane as we see more of top. I'd like this pick of Malphite versus the Gnar. With the attack speed slow, you're going to slow down his hyper and that damage you're taking in lane if you decide to go head to head. Oh, quite close.
Rush does find Slushy there in the mid lane, though. That's kind of what I was expecting out of Impulse this game. Rush to put a lot of tension towards mid lane, and honestly, Impact, even though it looked like he took a little bit of an unfortunate trade at the start, he was doing great against Calitros. I mean, you mentioned the attack speed slow that Malphite could offer, but that's only if he can get close. And I think Impact is too good of a player to let Calitros walk up to him in mini-Gnar.
Just being able to hop away and keep his distance. Teleport being used to the top here at 4 minutes. All to the turret, so he'll be able to get that quicker. And we see Porpoise is coming off of Raptors. There's the buff. He uses it to clear out a ward. May make his way towards that top lane once again. Calitros has been having an okay time against Impact so far. Let's see if his direction will also go towards the mid lane. Xiao, very hard guy to shut down, and will always get the farm that he wants throughout the game. Both mid laners just did this.
Well,
so much confidence.
Really interesting, actually. This is a level of teamwork we haven't seen from Impulse as of yet.
Not something
literally
we expected
just for the aiding the Scuttle Crab, they called the mid laner down. Xiao obviously had the freedom for that because he had shoved Slushy, but now his chase onto Porpoise looks a little bit excessive. I've almost never seen Xiao forego farm in the mid lane for anything. And here he did both the Scuttle Crab and a deep ward.
He's got the timing on it at least being in the mid lane and not crashing into the turret, but very different. See if he tries to do it again. Just under 6 as well as he went for that invade. A little bit of an invade here from Adrian on the bottom to get some deep wards in. They may be trying something here as level 6 is going to be coming up soon for that bottom lane. They're sitting at just level 5 right now. Oh, Adrian, this is the roam from the bottom lane. We've been seeing this consistently. Usually it's with the jungler, but it's only going to be the do-si-do for Adrian and Xiao.
It all comes together with that kill. So when Xiao roamed into the river and then in the top lane, the natural reaction when the enemy mid laner is roaming around is shove the lane to make him go back there. But the problem was Slushy had no flash and they didn't have ward control to match the bottom side. Yeah, so when Slushy shoved, he lost the ability to continue farming. Xiao waited until he pushed up, landed the chain, calmed by the bubble. A nice, easy, executed, pre-planned kill.
A lot more communication than we're used to seeing from Impulse. It's starting to pay off. 800 gold in the lead and just 6.5 minutes into the game. 41-26 as Calitros seems like he's starting to have a little bit of trouble in this top lane. Malphite can forego a bit of that CS, but it can be too much at some point.
Well, especially if they lose control of the mid lane. You very rarely win a game when you lose 2 solo lanes.
Yeah, the ones we thought would be stronger.
And in order for that to even work, their bottom lane would have to do exceptionally well, where they are very much splitting that way. Although it looked like Calitros just ulted straight on Impact.
He did. Porpoise was coming on the backside there, but I don't think he was going to be able to make it in time. Flag and drag. No ult yet, so. Just saying, get off my turret. It didn't work too much. Still Mega Nard up towards the turret. Should be getting to teleport back to the top lane, as we're seeing now. 55-54 in the bot, and not too much aggression has been done by Maple Street. As I say that, though, not really taking control of the lane.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance Calitros was flexing there. Flexing is a term that some players use when they're bluffing like they have backup. It's more common of a term in the bottom lane for silly positioning. But a Malphite ulting you at the turret usually would make you think that a Jarvan is on the way, which sometimes can burn a flash. And since Calitros knew he was going to teleport back in there in a shop cycle, as you can see, his ultimate's almost half off cooldown already. If it could have burned a flash, then his next ult would actually be an easy kill with the Jarvan gank. The flex, though, just didn't work.
Yeah. Impact knew how far he could go in that, and he was pressing all the buttons.
And now he doesn't have ult for an escape, which means his play may be punished here.
Can get the movement speed from his shard, but he throws it on the minion, actually. He's not going to get too much. He timed that flash very well for the distance Rush was closing. Knew the kick was coming in. Hit onto Adrian. That's level 6. Collateral damage does not come out from Maple Street. It would not have canceled out. Adrian walks through a ward.
They have burned the exhaust, however, but because of the ward, they are deciding not to do anything. I wonder what's going to happen here. Sushi should be cheating towards the Dragon Pit because that's where he has allies.
Looks like he feels safe for now. They have vision onto Rush, so that relieves a little bit on this 3 squad here. And they're only going to go ahead and get the Scuttle Crab vision for teammate. We might see another slow kill game here. Definitely not flying off the handle for either of these teams just yet. Xiao has already tried to make some plays. Yeah,
the early game definitely feels quite measured, but I think just based on the fact that teammates' team composition goes in so hard, it's going to be hard to see a low kill game at this point.
I hope so.
Me too, Rick.
NA Fantasy LCS players aren't getting many points this week. And it's not because people are doing bad. It's just because we're 3-0ing these games. And you really don't see too much kill action because everybody's playing compositions that can cancel it out. The other team's so afraid of. Here, Impulse has the one frag to themselves. Got that quite early in this. But haven't really
Although
worked
it did go to
off
their
of that.
support.
This is true.
Adrian.
Nothing that can work off of that. He is trying to put more wards down. He did get the deep one that then led to the mid lane kill. We'll see if that can keep creeping up as an advantage for Team Impulse. Getting a push in the bottom. This will be a back for Apollo. First one for him to try and match the BF sword of Maple Street.
A lot of these guys just relying on their back timings. Impact now trying to take more control back in that top lane. Despite Calitro's efforts to amass armor, Impact is winning that lane from a pressure perspective, for sure.
Yeah.
Knows he has a flash down on Calitros.
Taking the map completely in a vision perspective as well.
Yeah, look
really change in the style of play from the entire team. Impact feeling pretty sure of himself, goes hard on to Calitrolls, and he's definitely getting the better of him, showing here. Much better on his second day of play.
Well, it helps a lot when you don't get 4-man.
Yeah.
4-man behind your turret as you're level 1.
There's kind of a target on all the new players had yesterday, or anybody else that was coming in and getting their feet wet.
Seems to have decided a bit today. Looks like Dodo's trying to get aggressive. Oh, bubble!
Just on the outside. We're going to have 2 there. It will be Rush on 1. They're able to dive onto that wave and pretty much get to safety. And nothing really comes of it. There was a bit of resources focused there by Impulse.
Smack him around. Oh, he missed his ult. Calitrolls missed his ult.
Unfortunate. Impact really having his way with that top lane. Calitrolls, every time we see him, just about 50% HP, no mana, and Impact has the lane pushed up. We were going to say that they may just kind of leave Calitrolls alone and let him do what he's doing, but they're almost forced to do that now to get everybody else going. Impact's doing a great job.
And if that's the case, then Porpoise needs to make more plays around the map on Jarvan, but that is also not possible because they have no vision control.
No.
From a strategic perspective, even though it's only a 1,000 gold lead, the control is completely on the side of Impulse. They need to start transitioning the vision into actual advantages, though. They haven't been able to finish turrets, they haven't closed many kills, and they haven't accumulated any very large CS advantages. Because honestly, it feels like Team 8 just hasn't been buying wards. So they're saving that bank as long as they're not punished for it. But they should be punished for it.
Quickly, seems like they switched over to sweepers without really putting any down before they headed out. Full team, as we said, of Impulse is putting their effort into warding the map. Pink wards have been placed defensively for teammates so far, so they are realizing that they are behind. They're trying to stop this snowball that Impulse has put on them, and that's one way to do it. Here we see Xiao giving himself a bigger advantage. Oh, he wasn't in the brush for long enough, unfortunate. So it looks like these guys should be able to get out safe. We've seen multiple times where a team would stay. It looks like they have the vision to do so.
So these Jan and Graves versus Kog'Maw and Nami lanes also have turning points. When Kog'Maw gets closer and closer to level 9, as well as the Nami with the sustain growing from the ebb and flow, it does begin to turn towards Kog'Maw, especially when Apollo can get his Trinity Force. Kog'Maw becomes a devastating laner. And Maple Street and Dodo did not push their advantage very well when they hit it, and they're about to lose out.
Hopefully an advantage to be grabbed later. Looking at this team, is it objectives? Do they fight? Do they have to wait for Cali Trolls to get in there with an ultimate and everything look good on paper? I don't see teammate getting what they want.
Well, they need to find a way to get rid of this vision control first.
Oh, just getting thrown around here. We are going to have Xiao coming up to the top as well. There's the blue buff on him, so he's going to be able to spit out damage on this one. Puts the sigil on. Oh! Never mind.
Nice dodge there by Cali Trolls.
Cali Trolls
lost his turret because it had taken a substantial amount of damage beforehand. The Frozen Heart really helping Cali Trolls stay alive there. See if Rush goes in for hero steal.
Nope. Nope.
Still jumped in, but there's no way out after.
Oh, they leave him in there. Nice guy teammate. He just walks right out. So it looks like they have the coverage to know that Xiao was still top, but they're just playing it safe. We've seen a lot of teams taking that route. The paved, safe route is the way to go right now. Still about 2K down. Not helping them here is getting pressured in the mid lane. It looks like we're going to have Impact coming in just a few moments. We'll stop off at Wolves real quick, but he may be able to help me.
And now that the first turret is down for Impulse, I wonder where Impact will apply his pressure. Gnar is generally a bigger TP threat than anything else. Oh, no. But the rest of Impulse, they're growing that gold lead a little bit. But without the Dragon, they do need to pick up the pace a little bit to actually take advantage of the control they have. Knowing the power of the teamfight competition Team 8 has. If Team 8 just gets that one fight, this whole 10 minutes of control could be lost.
Deja vu, Jat. Are they going to hit it once again? Slows it, waits.
Got him anyway.
Then they hit the bubble. It's going to be Adrian. He flashes out and breaks the tether. Just one after the other. Everything played perfectly.
Too bad there for Slushy, burning his flash and still falling down. That did not break the tether range when he flashed back. Xiao was staying right up in his grill on the way.
So there's a little bit of use of that vision. I was actually going to say they let it go to waste because we were saying they need some picks. They have the vision. Where are the picks? Finally coming around to the mid lane once again. Rush just takes shot after shot. I think he got through a wormhole right there and warped out. Beautiful flash over the wall.
Yeah, he flashed right as Corpus was ulting, so the Jarvan damage did apply, but he pretty much instantly escaped the Cataclysm. And he was just in range of the wall to make that flash work. But they took so much damage, Team 8 on the offensive.
Something they definitely need. I don't think Xiao is going to give him a chance. Double distortion in with Mimic, only clears a few of the waves, but it gives Impulse enough breathing room to save mid. They have all their outer turrets and still have dropped one rather, as the bottom one not getting taken down just yet against Team 8. 2 kills though.
Oh, he wants Rush. Just kill him.
Got to make it fast. Oh, okay. I was going to say, hesitated.
That was sweet.
But he smited.
Right as he was getting kicked back is when he connected his Q, so since the kick was already gone, he basically canceled out the kick with the drag from his Flag and Drag and the smite for the final kill. Nice job there, finishing off Rush, who was being a little bit greedy there in the jungle.
Oh, he's good. We'll see one of these offensively, promise. Soon.
Well,
he's getting picked on all over.
At the time, he's trying to build really defensively with a Frozen Heart, but he's not actually able to guard himself from all of Impulse's damage. Kog'Maw does a lot of magic damage. Xiao, at the moment, is indiscriminate as far as target selection and is very willing to kill a tank who hasn't built any health or magic resist. As far as magic damage is concerned, Cali Trolls may as well be an 80 carry right now.
Yeah.
So he's actually needs to build a little bit of dual-faceted tankiness, and the Giant's Belt will help with that.
Still looking for a big wombo combo from Team 8. Impulse has not seen that yet, and it can catch them off guard. They're going to drop another outer turret. This one's really going to open up the map for them. They already had wards going into the side of Team 8. This just makes it easier. You can already see Rush taking advantage of that. Will Street? Nope.
Not today.
Slow to the draw. You're the one with the gun. Man. Whatever.
All right, now with the outer 3 turrets are gone, Team 8's inability to control their own jungle should be very punishing. They know they will lose their ability to farm if they don't find some fights to push Impulse out of their jungle. Therefore, they have a few pink wards in their own jungle. They know the timing of the dragon. and they have to play these next few minutes very carefully if they want to prevent an Impulse snowball. Cali Trolls is too far from home. This is the unfair farming. Here comes a LeBlanc.
So we realize now, as Malphite levels, he definitely starts to win.
Oh, he almost has his
engage.
ultimate.
Whew. Impact kind of baited that one out a little too early. Xiao maybe not getting there in time, and this is somewhat kind of telegraphed what Impulse was doing. Teammate can't exactly get around them to pinch him into a fight. Porpoise walks himself into a dangerous spot here, but it looks like it's just going to be top to safety with Slushy. Impulse is really just walking about.
Teammate actually kind of has to fight if they want some of this control back, because they cannot turtle now that their outer turrets are down and maintain the farm.
Yeah, you can see actually Impulse using all these ultimates just to clear waves. They're not afraid of these engagements coming in right now. Staying safe in the back line. Dragon coming up in a minute. They easily push off the whole team of Team 8 as they have spent all this time trying to work towards the top lane.
A couple key things to keep in mind before this next Dragon fight. The Frozen Heart is good, but it really depends on if they can burst down Apollo or not. With the Trinity Force, he can pump out a lot of damage, especially to targets that aren't like Malphite. Maple Street is yet to hit that Infinity Edge, but he has a whole bunch of spell damage with the straight attack damage and the armor penetration from his Brutalizer. Except none of that matters if there's no ward control and teammate can't see where they're going. Impulse beats them to the spot, clears the pink wards, and sets up for this Dragon.
Well, for Teammate fans, they're hoping the glass is half full and maybe they'll find a gigantic fight in one of these choke points of the jungle. It's looking grim. Dragon's coming up, so this one's going to be out in the open. And Impulse is going to have a bit of the advantage in positioning, but they're sitting on quite a few wards here.
They're really respecting the Malphite Orianna combo right now. I wonder,
that's good.
They're grouping up a little bit. This is getting dangerous. They're respecting Meganar as well.
Oh, they're pinning themselves in the Dragon Pit, but they just cannot close the gap from the side of Team 8 to get that ultimate to count. Obviously, the distortion out by Xiao, the Mimic as well. Keeps himself safe. Porpoise is taking quite a bit of damage. Dodo comes in for the ultimate to disengage and let the team reassess the fight. It may be what they needed. Rush is stuck in, but nobody wants to just go after him. They want to waste what is going to be coming from the power players. And
there goes!
Impact. No, they do go in. Cali Trolls, can he be chased by the team? A little headstrong there, but Maple Street finishes with a buckshot. They do get the tidal wave to go back through for the disengage, but Team 8, it does pay off that they stuck to the fight.
All of that for one kill. And they don't even close the Dragon, but how low did they make Impulse, and can they get some map control off of it?
Hopefully push out. That was a lot of work to just get one. The turret will go down, something they needed very much so, because this is them now getting wards into the side of Team Impulse in their jungle. And they can hopefully open up the game. Impact flashes in, the double ult. That's the command protect, but it's not enough. Apollo with the snipe, and I don't know if they have the chase. He's got blue buff, but you can just see how much mana is drained per artillery shot, and the chase is only so much, but they should not have gotten something back out of that from Teammate.
It was just a nice catch there.
Yeah.
By Impulse, and now they're right back on the offensive. Slushy looking to respawn. Amongst all this chaos, Slushy never found an Orianna ultimate, which may be punished here. Xiao doing that LeBlanc poke over the wall.
May be punished indeed, chat. It's one of the ultimates we saw carrying Team 8 to their victory, and right now cannot do so as he is dead. Respawning as the second tier turret goes down in the mid lane. And Impulse makes a very big surge. Their waves are almost in perfect positioning as well as they're at this part of the map.
And Team 8 is a team fight team dictated by their cooldowns for sure. They have them now, which means Impulse has to respect this. And back away.
And back away. They're going to be able to start denying resources as well. That becomes very big for a late game Orianna if she can't get her ball in the right spot. And Slushy knows exactly where to put it. If he doesn't have the chance, these fights are not going to go the way of Team 8. Impulse backs, they have a huge bank account to spend right now, and they start putting more items.
I mean, it's pretty much been non-stop action since that Dragon engagement that evened out the Dragons. And to take count, I mean, Impulse still has map control, but we got to see some of the team fight potential from Team 8. They were able to basically get a 1-for-0 in that team fight without even using an Orianna ult and using Malphite ult on a Lee Sin. Imagine if they can actually get the right combo.
Right.
If they could somehow catch Xiao or Apollo and remove the majority of that impulse damage at the start of a fight, the lack of map control and the 3,000 gold lead would not matter at that point.
Right, just kind of be wiped away. But the map control would help to get that in the first place.
Absolutely. It's kind of like a pipe dream saying, oh yeah, but we have a better team fight.
If we can get in.
We can do it. And if you don't have map control, you can't get the fight. But
well,
Adrian,
that's how you dive in. Whoa. A beautiful job zeroing him out. Huge damage from Porpoise there. Flashing it. Quick fingers by Rush. Cali Trolls wasting a big ult, but they're gaining ground with what they're doing right now. At least not losing anybody in the process.
Yeah, that was just Adrian not anticipating where Porpoise would be. Their vision of the river, I wonder if it was even gone. It just looked like a nice catch by Porpoise there. Yeah, he is blind until the last second. They then got the ward there later, which is what I saw on the minimap. Level 11 damage from Jarvan before is absurd. Rush flashing at the last millisecond as well.
Had they had wards, that was Impact gnawing out right then. It could have been a beautiful engage. However, Teammate is making the moves they need to and catching Team Impact off, or Team Impulse. I was looking at his name.
Team Impulse.
Do it once. No more, I promise.
Well, it'll happen.
Catching them off guard. And with the lead that Impulse had, they've been able to do a little bit of mitigating for these fights against Teammate. Already the Mikhail's Crucible to keep Apollo safe if he does somehow get locked down towards the back line. It's not super helpful. You don't stop getting popped up in the air. You can at least get him a little bit of safety if he does somehow get locked up. Oh, gonna be good on that. Trading over to Maple Street. And things are gonna slow down. This is gonna be that respect of the Wombo combo coming in for Teammate here. No more wards on the side of T8 for Impulse, so they have slowed their roll after losing a few turrets. Minute on Dragon though, so that's definitely what is on everybody's mind. Rabadon spikes for both Slushie and Xiao to be making some plays. We finally see that Cali Trolls has a bit of that health as well to be in these fights.
Yeah, despite the shutdown that Slushie has felt a little bit, 0-3, he's only about 800 gold behind Xiao. Cali Trolls is going to have to pull off some wizardry to get away from this one though. The longer he can stall, the more Teammate can do. And because that was really great, Teammate's pressure in the mid lane made them pull back and creates a Cali Trolls escape. He didn't even have to burn his fake teleport there. That was actually a big misplay there by Cali to teleport bottom lane. But he's going to try and walk the long way and get in position for this Dragon.
A little bit of communication goes a long way. Could have been a pinch fight.
It was almost a perfect play by Teammate. So close.
Ooh, like this. Shh.
Yeah, oh, well, Rush is...
He knows. He's toying with him. You know that first backstab, and he's thinking about it. So they have been found out.
Oh no, that's not what you want coming into that.
Right at Dragon.
That's bad.
Whoa,
that's bad for Teammate.
Impact flies in. That was Gnar wearing off as well, so he just got what he needed in the ultimate. Whoa, this is going to be Impulse just going overboard on this one, and it's exactly what they wanted. Oh, with the dodges, Maple Street, one more. He has enough mana. That's the shot he needed. Apollo lands it. That's going to be 3 kills going over to Impulse.
You can only dodge bullets for so long until someone punches you in the face.
Yep.
That was just Teammate running out of chances there. Cali Trolls makes a big mistake while Impact makes a big play. They get the Gnar ult, they finish the stun off, they can chase, obviously, because the teamfight threat from Teammate was gone with Cali Trolls' deletion there in the mid lane. And now they should just go take this Dragon, get their reward.
I think that's a good idea. They're going to go ahead and pick up number 2 of the game. 1 for each side previously, and this is going to be Impulse gaining a bit of that lead back. They faltered a little bit. Teammate found not a bit of a power spike, but really Impulse running around the map without as much vision as they had before. See if they can do it again. Not really that many pink wards for Teammate to be placing here in a forward position.
They really crave these types of grouped up moments though. It's when the game gets spread out that Xiao and Rush are able to make plays. I really like the fact that Xiao is so heavily focusing Cali Trolls. Cali Trolls is very armor heavy in his build right now, and he's hoping he can get enough health to be ignored by Xiao. But Xiao is completely neutralizing that. It's like a carry for carry type thing. Since Cali Trolls is the carry of Teammate in many cases, if he shuts him down, he knows he's shutting down the shot call.
This could be one of those ultimates we were looking for, Jack. Cali Trolls taking a few shots from the turret as he's not worried. See where Xiao is, as you were saying. That's his focus without any magic resistance. That's going to be the Gnar ultimate into the tidal wave.
Where's the turn? Wait for the turn.
Beautiful ultimate. Where's the shockwave? It's only one person. There it is. The 4-man wombo combo. That's all they were looking for all game. Can they seal the deal? They're still losing a lot of HP, but it was all the control that they needed.
And that's why they were waiting for it. Cali Trolls finally got the ball on. Impulse was way too grouped up. He did hit that one ultimate. We said that's all it was going to take. Now they get a mini wave. Maybe they can even get an inhibitor off of that.
What a crazy ultimate to finally come in. And it looked so good. Almost all the players towards the outside brought into the middle in a cleanup. That's what Graves is perfectly for in this composition. And now they take down the inhibitors. A beautiful job by Team8 to open this game wide open.
Jeez, it's even now. Rush is trying to keep them occupied because there are a lot of people respawning. Teammates got to run pretty fast.
Oh, there's a Randuin's. That's the play, is the command shield to come back in. Can he protect? Oh, he walks back into it. No, he still saves himself. This is going to be huge. Impact with a few more. He does get the kill. Impulse coming up huge with the rest of the team now as they run down the lane. This could equal something even bigger. I don't even know what T8's going to do after they come back from this one. Impulse is already going to have control of the map. They have control of this fight, and Team8 overstayed their welcome.
They could not get the inhibitor safely, and in that case, you should not go for the inhibitor. It was on a razor's edge, though. We have to take a look at the fight that created all this in the first place, and it felt like Impulse was almost baited, thinking Cali Trolls was just going to run away, but that's all that was on his mind right now. As soon as the Orianna ball goes on, boom, spread away. The fact that Xiao got caught in the shockwave was a huge blunder. The Cataclysm is just the cherry on top to line everyone up as well for Maple Street's AoE damage. Everything worked out there for Team8 until everything didn't work out on the retreat.
Almost feel invincible after plays like that, and then you realize, oh, we're still mortal. That was a problem. 2K gold lead even after that fight and inhibitor take. 2.5K, I should say, here for Impulse. A very nice rebuttal on all of that attack. They have yet to really open up the base, however, of Team8. That is their next goal. Forward wards being placed now. As fast as they can, they get to the side of Team8, somewhere they haven't been for a while, and get down exactly what they need. Good teamwork here from Impulse.
And as long as they can maintain being grouped up, even though they did overstay for that inhibitor, the fact that they got it, they can now use to their advantage. Impact has no teleport down to that bottom lane. So Team8 just needs to force Impulse to check Baron, and then they can get a fight. That looks a little bit over-aggressive, but it doesn't look like Impulse is willing to walk near Malphite.
No, that was perfectly played. He safeguarded himself out of that one, and they said, let's do it. He has no more gap closes or dashes. Great play there by Porpoise to take it into his own hands.
Impulse is actually very hard-pressed right now to not lose Baron or a Nexus turret. As you can see, Impact has left the bottom lane, meaning those super minions will push up eventually. If he could Mega Gnar inside that pit, it's exactly what they need, but he just doesn't have it up right now.
The Baron is big. I don't know if it could be this big.
The jungler's down. It's a secured Baron as long as they just play it safe.
There it is. Taking the damage that they needed to. Cali Trolls puts himself in the fire for the rest of the team. Now they just need to get out alive. A nice boulder toss from Impact. A good shockwave into collateral damage. Great combination. 300 HP at the top of your screen. Both living is going to be Maple Street and Dodo. Can they get out alive? Trying for the disengage. Once again, they get Slooshy. But it is going to be Baron for Team8. They're losing members. The lanes are pushed. And there's some pings going on to the inhibitor turrets. But I don't think Tip's going to have the move to get there.
What a wacky game this is becoming right there. Very tight decision-making here.
Yeah.
I mean tight, there's small margins for the errors that they can make here. The fact that Cali Trolls tried to peel there with his Malphite, I think that's what happened and ended up costing his life.
Yeah, he threw himself in.
Meant they couldn't end up getting the fight afterwards, and Apollo's actually getting quite fed, yet has no defense against a Cali Trolls ultimate, which may end up being negligible in the long run.
That's the Talisman of Ascension. There's the Chilling Smite, and that's going to be Apollo going down. He finds himself. Oh, wow. Not before he can just get one Loogie off onto Dodo.
That hurts, too, because Dodo's trying to stack up that Medjais. He's now down to 3 after that death.
That's true. Like, not really a return on
toggle.
investment there. You're kind of paying interest.
The combo still works for teammate, though. The gen is literally just to amplify it a little bit.
Yeah.
If teammate wants to find a dive, if Calicross sees the ultimate, he will go.
These are these fights, they're back and forth. Calitrolls doesn't mind taking 500. Impact will probably do the same thing before we start. But a good disengage as Mega Gnar was coming out. It's not something you want to fight, especially with a Banshee.
And no AD carry means very diminished wave clear. It's nothing but the threat of Xiao Xiao is keeping them off the turret.
That's true. These living artilleries would be on the back line where Maple Street's standing right now, pushing them off the turret. That's going to be the job of Xiao Xiao. And that was half the HP of Maple Street instantly.
Yeah, no Janus Shield to help out with that one, but they are persistent in these turrets. Every time they overpush for a turret, they seem to lose a fight.
Oh, Calitrolls went over the wall. That was the ultimate. He gets himself out alive. The fight's in the mid now. A great Monsoon once again to disengage, but this means now Impulse can try to stick to the fight. Both Randuins have been used. Slushy goes down. 1-7-7, not having the game he did previously on Orianna. Impulse again gets something as teammate gets something.
It's a game of trading things, and it really feels like
Tug of
teammate
war.
has been trading their lives for objectives. Except after they trade their lives, what are they giving back here above the life? Because now Impulse trying to push down their inhibitor turret of their own. No Slushy to stop them. No Calitrolls ult either.
Oh.
But no powerful minions for Impulse, so not enough time.
Still being surprised by Impulse, however, coming out so much stronger. A completely different team than what we saw, and a completely different impact in the top lane, having a better game. They still stay, not even afraid here.
Rush really wanted to make a play there.
Oh, got to be very careful. Rush getting backed up. He's going to get popped right there. Maple Street picking up another kill for himself, and you got to be careful. Nexus turrets are going down, so this is going to be the chase to base. If they can stop the backs, that's a lot of damage.
They're like, hey guys, they're going to back, run to Dragon! And I think that's the correct call here from teammate.
There's another one.
2-2 now. This is, teammate is getting nothing if not experience in late game shot calling. They're playing tons of close games here.
Very true. You think what it could have been a different game if Maple Street and Dodo had played much more aggressive, since they did not have to, or since rather they got the lane matchup that they wanted.
Yeah.
As opposed to the lane swap.
It didn't go terribly, but they did get an edge out of that one. Calitrolls as well survived impact in the top lane.
He was having trouble too. His flash got burnt a few times.
Slushy has really been the target, it feels like, of Impulse.
That Adrian roam.
That is a big impact for it too, but more so when he's shielding his allies in these fights, Porpoise or Calitrolls, to pull off the combos. He's leaving himself vulnerable to auxiliary damage, and it's one of the reasons for his 7 deaths. He's still getting off some really nice shockwaves, and he's farmed enough to make them hurt.
Really nice. I'm pretty sure we have an LCS big play coming up in this game, talking about his shockwaves week after week on that Ori. And it's, like you said, with that shield being on somebody else, he's dealing with people jumping and firing onto the back line. So it's only that much more tough. 36 minutes in, a 16-12. We finally get some bloodshed on the Rift, some LCS points for these fantasy teams. And the score now to about 800 being the difference. That was a few thousand before by Impulse, but now it has been closed. His teammate is really pulling themselves back in. I think they lost just about all their outer turrets before they were even really to come back in this game. So they've kept their head in it.
Yeah. And teammate has actually assumed a certain level of control since they are the ones that have downed the inhibitor turret, and the fact that they have the better team fight composition. As long as teammate can keep vision control up, they should be sitting pretty. Once Apollo gets Banshee's Veil, it's going to make it much more difficult for him to get comboed out. That may be another bit of a breaking point in power for these guys. But Impulse doesn't have vision control right now, so it's really hard for them to actually set up the catches and picks that they require. And
we've seen these games continuously go longer and longer, so you better believe both of these teams will wait until they get what they want. See, that is Xiao back and forth as many times as he can to keep vision. Maybe get some poke in. That's going to be Rush. They said one's enough for us. Maybe we can continue the fight. Apollo fires it out, but the Storm Shield saves Calitrolls as he flashes away. This is going to be the kite now by Team 8.
That looked like a very impatient initiation there by Team 8. Apollo is the priority target, and you saw Calitrolls nearly got shredded after he ulted in for Rush, despite all of his tankiness. and Leandries for a little bit of damage, as we can see.
Well, like you said, they're a team that plays off of cooldown. So while, yeah, they did get a kill, it'd be greater if that cooldown hit 3 or 4 people, because that's the only way they're getting into these fights.
It's the only way they're closing the game as well.
Right.
30 seconds are the death time. They literally just got a small advantage off that. Because they were able to escape, they didn't necessarily sacrifice anything. Seems like that inhibitor has been dead in the top lane for half the game, bottom lane for half the game at this point.
It's all being taken by Impact now. 256 to 211 there as we just kind of look across the inventories. We do see Xiao, as always, at 327 to 278, even with his little run around in mid lane where he was behind in CS for a while. Still make sure he hits that goal of CS in every game. Teammate now with the gold lead in their favor as they took that outer turret down. Cali Trolls might have to ult out of this one unless the team can get there. Where's the shield now? That was the unstoppable force. Rush goes down once again. Deja vu in the beginning of the fight. This time, it's the double kill.
No.
And Xiao absolutely pops 2 members of Team 8. Impact goes in huge and gets an ultimate that the entire team wanted to follow up on. There's a kill from Apollo. Impact solidifies one for himself. And it leaves Porpoise running for the hills. This is an inhibitor turret for sure.
Yeah, that was getting rid of Cali Trolls at the start of the fight. And teammate completely lost their heads. Nobody knew what to do there. Slushy whiffs his shockwave, everyone else is retreating. An over-prioritization, or not even an over-prioritization, just trying too hard to clear wards in dangerous places. I think that's the game. If you make a mistake of that magnitude 40 minutes in the close game, and it's over.
Even, he has Spirit Visage as well, and Xiao just completely dominates Porpoise's health bar. This is going to be Impulse, showing a completely different team here. Beautiful job as they come in for their second game in week 2, and they are able to take down Team 8.
And it really could have gone either way down the stretch. It was just a big mistake there by Cali Trolls getting caught out, and then add to a whiff shockwave, add to some fantastic gnarls, especially that one down the stretch by Impact. And that was it. It was an incredibly close game, back and forth. Impulse not necessarily taking as big of an edge as they should have in the early game, gave teammate a window, which was then exploited, then they took it right back.
Sigh of relief there, seen by Impact. The man on your screen right now as he rounds the corner. If they were to lose this one as well, I'm sure that pressure would have just kept building on Impact. Games would have been harder. This is a great release. It's a really good step for the team.
Yeah, that's going to be a good confidence boost for them, obviously. They probably took a pretty big hit yesterday when Impact died so many times in that top lane and just didn't feel like, hey, we're bringing in a world champion who's going to die at the start of the game. That didn't happen here. Their world champion in Impact landed some clutch gnarls. And
to see him come back as well, saying, I have a big champion pool, and then he got pushed onto Lulu and didn't do so well. So him himself had something to prove, and it came out well. Team 8, it's true. As it said, hit the solo lanes as hard as you can. The bottom lane didn't push as much as they should have with the combination they had in that matched up 2v2, and I think they missed out on a lot of opportunities they could have taken.
They did. They also overreached for opportunities as a team.
Yeah.
Which is something teammates going to have to do to continue to grow. It's too bad for them, obviously. They were super close to tying for first place in the NA LCS after 2 weeks, which probably would have felt pretty great for a new team. But obviously, teammate, we've seen in some of their pre-match videos, they're saying they don't expect to be a top-tier team here at the start. They just want to kind of ease their way into the LCS, and they're going to have growing pains like this game where it's a close back-and-forth game that can go either way. Games like that happen. They need to be able to bounce back next week from this defeat.
It's kind of a thought that a lot of teams would have. I mean, you look over even to the European LCS where Giants were, and they kind of had the same thought. You know, our first split, we didn't expect to do much. And then they returned. They started doing well, obviously faltering a little bit as teams gain their footing. But each team has to realize they have a chance no matter what. Yep. Like, even these Team Liquid, they came out huge. They've lost. They've faltered. And we've seen a lot of teams that people thought would be on the bottom, beating TSM, beating Cloud9.
Yeah, I mean, we're so used to now the NALCS starting with a 4 to 5 game week at the start, and we're just like, all right, that's how everything's happening.
Who's going to surge?
Yeah, the start of the season is really 2 to 3 weeks long as far as actually getting a beat on how these teams are going to be panning out. And because there were so many substitutes at the start of the NALCS and how it'll kind of continue to be, especially with Winter Fox getting a few guys still coming in with their coach and their support. It'll be a while until we know the real power level of these teams.
I'm glad you brought that up, because Pobelter actually brought up that he says this feels completely different. These usually started out in Super Weeks, and we were 0-4, so this is a completely new feeling.
Much better.
Much better indeed. To break down that close match, let's toss it over to the guys at the analyst desk.
Thank you, Riv. Gentlemen, a very chaotic game.
Yeah.
There are lots of back and forth, power shifting throughout the game. Freak, I do want to jump right into that final team fight, though, and take a look, because there was some misplay and some capitalization on both sides. So we're going to pull that up onto your screen, just kind of break that last fight down.
Yeah, so the big thing about sort of wombo combo team compositions is they're pretty feast or famine, because there's nothing to really do outside of your ultimates, generally speaking. Right? On the sliding scale, they're on the low end there. So if you don't land all your ultimates together, if you miss those, you don't have a lot to follow up from. Caster Graves with the Yomus with no good crit synergy, no good attack speed synergy. He's going to have lower damage output as well. And this is Teammate getting one of those famine team fights where the hard engage isn't very good or only gets one guy. Calitrolls gets caught out here. Go ahead and roll the clip out, and you're going to see, right, Teammate are kind of limping in. They're mostly here, but Calitrolls is going to get a famine ulti, right? He ults in, misses. He hits impact. Like, he hits one person. Okay, they follow up on rush. That's great. But now all these big cooldowns got used on a giant tank who has a low damage threat. Suddenly, all these champions who do have important cooldowns, who can do fun things like Xiao Wei Xiao, get to go in and do all this, right? You've got just the easy chase at this point, and even if Maple Street wanted to, even if he were alive, he wouldn't be able to break down Impact, because Caster Graves can't do something like this. Very good mechanics, of course, by Team Impact. Impulse. Darn it. I pulled the Jat.
You did it!
Jat, I hate you so much.
Literally, during
You've
the
poisoned
game.
me.
During the game.
I was like, I've never done that. I've never said Team Impact. Canada, man.
That was awesome.
Nailed it. But the thing about that fight that's really concerning to me is Xiao Wei Xiao was off on the right, which is where they need to play that composition. But Team 8, if they had recognized that, they could have all in and just gone in immediately. They wouldn't have had the LeBlanc threat in that fight, and then it would have just been the wombo happening. Even if you get one person in that fight that isn't Impact, you go for some other backline damage threat, then you're completely in the clear there for Team 8.
It was a good illustration, though, of what happens when you lose one element of your wombo combo.
Yeah.
The Malphite ult having been used, because we have another example, and we'll just pull this up right now. We have another replay of the wombo combo being used effectively. So, Zyrene, I'm going to let you take this one.
This is my favorite part of the day, because we've been having these games where people have 0 kills. This is a bloody game, and I absolutely love it. So, Calitrolls, he eventually gets the command protect on him, and he holds his ultimate for so long. Impact is basically up against him playing zone defense, just like right up in his grill, right? He's like, I'm not going to let you get into these guys. I'm not going to let you get into my backline. And then Calitrolls just goes up and diagonal over him, and that's what causes the wombo combo to happen. We're going to start rolling it out here, and the big thing here is Xiao Wei Xiao is not in this fight either. He ends up walking up right now, and as soon as he gets next to Apollo, boom, he is in range of that Orianna ultimate, and that was what would turn that fight. If they had taken just the Kog'Maw, maybe LeBlanc can deal some damage, and it's not a clean sweep of the team. But then TIP learned, keep your Xiao Wei Xiao off on the side, have him re-enter the fight later on. And that's something that teammate could have capitalized on, but it's how you play that composition that TIP made.
And there's actually one thing I want to point out about that clip. If you watch the very end of that fight, notice how slow the cleanup is, right?
Yep.
The wombo combo is great. They've got Caster Graves. He bursts people really hard. And then, well, Impact's not dead. Rush isn't quite dead. They have to land a couple auto attacks to like remove that third straggler, and like 2 people of Teammate die because, oh, by the way, our cooldowns are down. Man, our DPS sure sucks. And of course, we saw in the very first replay what happens when you don't hit anything at all, but you can instantly remove 3 people, and the fight is still close. And that is the trouble with these wombo combo comps with things like Caster Graves, is you run out of steam after about 4 seconds.
Yeah, you hope for those crits after that point. You're just
basically.
like, ugh. And
35%.
That's why you get Sunfire Cape, too.
Yeah.
Try to chip him down a little bit afterwards.
Just
Leandre's
taking
actually
them down 45 damage at a time, unless you get those Sork shoes. But Team 8, they're still afforded the opportunity to build comps like this, even after the number of top lane bans that we saw go through, because of the depth of Calitrolls' champion pool, so that he can play things like Malphite when the Narvin, when the Gnar, rather, just Gnar by himself, would be normally the one to jump in, throw people against a wall, and then take the Orianna ult.
Yeah, so I do like, by the way, that, Malphite was a consistent engager. We've seen Dignitas struggle, for example, so hard to have these fights start, to actually engage and make things go on. Good old reliable Malphite, unless you flash it, gonna get some knockouts, gonna make things happen. There is something to be said for these reliable engagers. As far as you're talking about the pick and ban phase and the champion pool of someone like Cali Trolls, well, the two bans were Aurelia and Jax, these two supposed one-on-one counter picks to Gnar that, of course, Impact wanted to play. And so they banned away those champions that they know Porpoise will camp for Cali Trolls for to get those champions ahead. So, okay, you're not removing his whole champion pool. He can play something else. But they're saying, okay, let's make sure Impact is set up to do well. He was. His individual contribution was very good. And then, look, the Wombo ever fails, Tip wins. They did.
Yeah, and something about that game that I noticed was teammate, Cali Trolls, he used his first, 4 ultimates defensively. He was trying to escape. They kept roaming up to him, applying pressure to him. Impact, that is actually the most scared I've seen Cali Trolls in a game to date. And he's usually an extremely aggressive player, almost to a fault all the time, right? That was the most defensive I've ever seen him. He was really scared of dying. And then eventually at one point, he's like, okay, I have my frozen heart. I can dual Impact. And he goes up to him and he gets him down to 1/3 HP, but Xiao's there and he can't complete the kill, right? So those types of things, if he wasn't using those ults defensively and didn't have that pressure, he probably would have been able to be at the point where he could solo kill Impact. So TIP really noticing what the strength of teammate was and shutting that down so the game didn't get out of control.
Yeah, credit to them for their early game. Yeah. They definitely had the early game advantages. It just was that ability to turn fights with the Wombo combo that kept teammate in it, really. Mm-hmm. So, again, let's, microscoping in on TIP now. Definitely a huge victory for them with their roster now together. You saw the relief on Impact's face at the end of that game, just like, okay, we're here, we're at the LCS, we've got a win under our belts. I hope to see them, kind of take this and refine it so that they don't have to scrap these wins together.
Right. So here's the interesting thing is, so as far as scrapping wins together, keep in mind we shouldn't underestimate Teammate too heavily. They beat TSM. This is a good team. This is a good win for these guys. You can't say, oh, it was one of the challenger squads. How dare you have a close game against these guys? Teammate have a pretty good pedigree right now. Mm-hmm. That said, yes, TIP have a lot of refining to do. Keep in mind, Rush is still going full solo queue. He was at 1/3 health, was like, maybe I could pick off Cali Trolls, and dies and gives up the dragon for it, right? These things are still happening. This Rush, try not to live up your name so much. Maybe slow down to a jog at some point here because you're going a little bit too hard by yourself. Those habits still exist, but we saw Impact win a straight-up one-on-one. Okay, he got more help and pushed even farther, but he won his one-on-one. Their bot lane still performing well. You're facing a Wombo combo, and Cog died, I think, only twice all game. Props to Apollo for that, right? These guys are actually all, for the most part, pulling their individual weight. They're going over aggressive. They've got to polish that, but the elements are here for them.
Yeah, and Xiao is still Xiao. Right. I was actually really impressed with their
Well,
bottom.
he was more Xiao than he was in the previous 3 games of the... Yeah, yes. I think so. Than he was in the previous week.
Yeah,
he was more confident in being able to roam outside of his own lane.
I think a lot of that is he was on a playmaking mid laner this time.
He's been on LeBlanc before.
Yeah, he's done it before. He just got...
But he played it for the solo queue portion before, but now he has a team that's more team-oriented too, and which has always kind of been his thing, right? Is he needs a team to support what he does. He's a playmaker, but he needs people that are going to back him up or start the fight for him before he jumps in. He's always kind of the second person in on things, right? He was a big Yasuo player where it's all right, coming in second, right?
You literally have to follow.
Well,
exactly.
And that's where I want to point to Adrian, because he roamed mid on Nami. Right. He had huge contribution to getting Xiao in the position where he was comfortable making those solo plays to help out the rest of the team.
And it's something we're seeing so very much. We were actually joking, we were thinking who's going to be in the OP5? And I was like, I think the OP mid laner should be Lustboy because he's having more impact mid lane than most of the other mid laners here. And it's so good to see these guys roam out. And of course, yes, good play by Adrian. We're seeing it, I think, more and more this season. The support's roaming out of lane to make these plays, to get those solo lanes ahead. In the specific instance of this first blood kill, or the second blood kill, it was, okay, chains landed, wait for the root, then bubble, okay, it's free, right? Mechanically pretty smart there, but yes, I think we're going to see this more often. Good by Adrian to do it, but it's going to be commonplace.
Yeah.
Definitely an exciting match. Very chaotic, but fun to watch. Don't touch that mouse. Coast are preparing to battle it out with Gravity in our 5th match of the day. We'll be right back after this.
we're going to be jumping into our next match. That's Team Impulse versus Team 8. Keeps himself safe. Porpoise is taking quite a bit of damage. Dodo comes in for the ultimate to disengage and let the team reassess the fight. Flies in. That was Gnar wearing off as well, so he just got what he needed in the ultimate. Where's the shockwave? It's only one person. There it is. The 4-man wombo combo. That's all they were looking for all game. Can they seal the deal? This time, it's the double kill.
No.
As Xiaowei Xiao absolutely pops 2 members of Team 8. Impulse showing a completely different team here. They are able to take